Okay, guys, so we're looking at a gated community. This gated community is a storage lot building. Okay, this is where people store stuff they don't use and they pay someone to store it. It's a billion-dollar industry in a first world country where even poor people have so much stuff that they have to pay someone else to keep it. And even people living the RV life, many of them store their RVs in storage units. Look at this RV right in front of us. It's a Class B Mercedes-Benz mobile home. And it's been in there for weeks or months on end. And the new gated community in the modern society is a storage unit community. And it's an amazing thing that I think about and that I wanted to share in this video. That in a modern society where sometimes people complain and they get upset that there isn't affordable housing or things aren't fair, I look at things like a storage unit and how popular they've become and how expensive they are. I think the average storage unit is about $150 a month. And I think about the mental condition of someone who keeps stuff in a storage unit for more than 6 months. I think if you were going to have a storage unit, I think its purpose is as a transitional thing. Meaning that if you were selling your house and moving to a new one, it makes sense to get a storage unit. Because, you have to put your stuff somewhere until you get to the new place. I think if you had a business and you need to store your inventory somewhere, that also makes sense. But I think if you're someone who doesn't use the stuff you have, and you haven't used it in so long that it just rots in a storage unit, I think it's insanity. I really do. It's my opinion. Everyone has the right to spend their money however they want. But it's interesting, a lot of those people sometimes complain that they don't have enough money. Now look, there's rich people or middle class people that keep stuff in a storage unit. So I would say mainly though, the demographic that keeps stuff in a storage unit are lower to middle class people. And that's what I would say. Poor to lower to middle class people are the majority of people that use storage units. There may be some upper middle class and maybe a few rich people, and they're going to mainly use it maybe for a business inventory or something. But I just think about, I'm looking at this gated community. It has cameras, it has automated gates, it has heating and cooling storage facility, and it serves such a big part of the population. It's just an interesting thing, man. I see storage units everywhere. They're publicly traded companies, most of them. So, in my travels and on my road to minimalism, I have found that so many people struggle mentally with the ability to let go of things. And I empathize with that struggle. I know sometimes like videos like this, people think I'm being harsh to those who have storage units. I'm not. Because when I sold my house and I threw away just about 99% of the things I owned, I felt the mental pain, and I was surprised. I was surprised on how hard it was to throw stuff out, especially perfectly good stuff that someone could still be used, or maybe I can use it in the future. But the reality is, I was probably never going to use it in the future, which I didn't. The reality is, people don't want your stuff, and if you don't believe me, try to coordinate someone to pick up your stuff. They won't come. Or they'll take forever and it'll destroy your life. So, my thoughts are, a big part of life is mental, and a big part of throwing stuff out is mental. And because there is pain, people want comfort, And people will pay to avoid the pain of totally changing their life and throwing stuff out. Now, I want to be fair. Not everyone should be a minimalist. I want to be fair. I have seen some people who regret throwing everything out and wish they would have kept it. To be fair, you should have a storage unit if you're in the process of moving or if you have a business. But to be fair, most people have too much stuff they don't need. And that's the interesting dynamic of life, of living in a first world country where there's so much stuff, people need somewhere to store it. And will that ever change? Well, I don't know. Change is an interesting thing. You can change right now, but I don't think most people will change. I think people resist change. I think adapting is a sign of a healthy mind. It's because it's hard. And so to do something a little bit difficult, you gotta be taking good care of yourself. A lot of people that I've met that have storage units, they don't take good care of themselves. Physically, emotionally, mentally, they're a wreck. Most people. There's some exceptions. So I'm hoping by me talking this out that it helps in some way. I don't have the answer for your life, and I'm not your dad. I'm not your dictator. You do whatever you want. In a free world, in a free country, you should be able to have 20 storage units if you want. You should be able to own storage units. You may want to buy stock in storage units. I don't have the answer. I don't tell people what to do with their money. I observe and I share my own opinion and experience. Everyone has to do what they feel is best for them and proceed in their life what is best. I will say this, that for me, less is more. The less I have, the less I have to worry about, the less I have to pay for, the more resources that I can control and that I can empower myself instead of empowering a storage unit, or I don't have to worry about things if I don't have a lot of things. And for me, that works. And you'll have to figure out what works for you, what you're willing to pay and what you're not willing to pay, not just financially. Because again, if the average storage unit is $150 a month, that's not extremely high for most people. Now, it's extremely high if you make $1,000 a month, and some people do. And they say they spend 25% of their income on a storage unit. It's crazy. But $150 for most people is not that much. But what is a lot is the mental attachment and the lack of discipline and the lack of willingness to move on with your life. The price you will pay for keeping stuff from your old life will prohibit you from living a new life. And what I found is most people are living in the past because it's too painful to let go. And I'm not talking about painful memories. I'm just talking about letting go and moving to a future is hard for a lot of people. Because there's uncertainty in the future. And in the past, with your things, you have certainty. Like I know I have a vacuum somewhere in that storage unit. Chances are you're never going to use that vacuum. Fear is a real thing. And it's the fear, I think, that keeps people with a storage unit. The fear of letting go, that they may need it, that they don't feel at peace, with letting it go, Humans are mainly emotional. And I don't want to say that's all bad, because if we were just logical, we'd be robots. But there has to be some level of, the tail can't wag the dog. Your emotions can't run your life. You have to run your life. But you get to decide with your money, with your time. Again, these are my thoughts. And I hope that me talking this out, at least I gave you something to think about and something to ask yourself and something to observe as you go through life and you pass by these big gated storage unit facilities and you think about the mental condition of society. And you think about some people who complain about society and they have storage units. It's like, I don't know. A storage unit is having too much stuff. Either way, Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Peace.